Many of you probably know someone who's experiencing infertility, and sadly, it's a very common occurrence. Get this, 1 in 8 U.S. couples of childbearing age is currently experiencing infertility, and female fertility actually starts to decline around the age of 27 with a dramatic drop-off after 35. Nicole Witt is the executive director of the Adoption Consultancy, and she can discuss what women can do at any age to preserve their fertility. Nicole, I know you had issues with infertility.
Yes.
And actually 3 of my closest friends, and I don't have very many friends, have experienced infertility as well. I didn't realize it was such a common occurrence, though.
It is so common. It's over 7 million people in the country are dealing with it every day.
1 in 8.
1 in 8 couples.
Okay, so let's talk about how we can preserve our fertility, and let's start with the age of around 20, in your 20s, let's say.
In your 20s. Yeah, an interesting trend that we're seeing of people in their 20s is egg freezing.
Okay.
And what's particularly interesting about it is that women in their 20s aren't usually thinking about fertility.
Sure.
So this is very parent-driven. And a lot of parents are even giving egg freezing procedures as graduation gifts.
Really?
So that, yes, so their children can focus on education and career without that biological clock sort of ticking so loudly.
Wow, very interesting. Okay, we actually have a fertility graph, too, that we can look at.
Yes.
Tell us about this.
Yeah, like you mentioned, fertility starts to drop off much earlier than people think, around age 27, and there's a significant drop-off that starts happening after 35, which is, you know, very different from a lot of the images that you see coming out of Hollywood where people seem to be getting pregnant easily in their 40s and so on.
Right.
That's not what reality is.
Okay, well, let's talk about the reality of people preserving their fertility in their 30s.
Yeah, this is where a lot of people get serious about having a family, and they're really shocked to see those statistics and to learn that even with treatments like in vitro, that's not the magic bullet people think. If they're using their own eggs, that's only 35% successful for people under the age of 35, and it drops off from there.
Okay, we have a graph that we can take a look at here, too, and this is IVF results.
Right, right. And you can see if they're using their own eggs, it really drops off. It's only about 16 to 20% by the time somebody's 40. But for donor eggs, it stays pretty consistent, around 65%. It's about the age of the eggs, not the age of the uterus.
Okay.
So as people get older, that's something that they can think about.
Okay, and then when you get into your 40s, you know, I was reading something that you had sent that it said 6 to 10%?
6 to 10.